Hello everyone, welcome to the next exciting devlog for my latest project, the Ultimate Turn-Based Battle System 2D. If you missed the last video where I shared how RPG Maker Unite inspired this ambitious toolkit, be sure to check it out. I am aiming to revolutionize the creation of RPG battle systems, and I'm thrilled to share the latest updates with you. Let's dive right in. In this devlog, I'm excited to show you the progress I've made since the initial concept drawings. So let's jump straight into Unity and take a closer look. I want the ultimate turn-based battle system to be seamlessly integrated into Unity. The first step was creating a custom editor window accessible through Unity's main menu bar. This window is like the control center for your battle system, and you can dock it anywhere you like. I prefer it next to the Inspector tab. The main navigation bar in this window provides all the tools you'll need to set up the database objects that will form the backbone of your unique battle system. Let me give you a tour of each menu. Starting with the Stats menu, you can define a simple list of all the stats your characters will rely on. These stats are crucial as they determine how various values are calculated during battles. I'm planning to add a feature that allows you to define your own formulas for calculating each value to perfectly match your game's needs. Currently, we have Strength, Defense, Magic Strength, Magic Defense, Speed, and Agility. You can add or delete stats as needed, and both playable characters and enemies will use these stats for battle calculations. Next, let's look at affinities. Affinities add an extra layer of strategy and challenge by defining strengths and weaknesses for heroes and enemies. They're set up similarly to stats in a simple list where you can add or remove entries. The current list includes physical, fire, ice, electric, wind, and light. When creating heroes or enemies, you can configure affinities to have specific effects when hit with these elements. For instance, if your hero uses a fire skill on an enemy, the enemy can either be weak to fire, block the skill, repel it, or even absorb it. And just like stats, you can customize this list as needed. Now, let's move on to the tool for creating status effects. Here, you can start by defining some general information like the sprite, name, and description. Then, using the Add Effect button, you can configure the actual status effects. This includes specifying which stat to affect, HP, MP, or any other stat. You can then choose what the effect does to the stat. Add, subtract, multiply, divide, add %, or subtract %. Next, set the exact amount and frequency, whether it happens once each turn at the end of battle or randomly. Finally, set the duration, which can be until the next turn, the end of battle, a specific number of turns randomly or indefinitely until healed. Let's look at an example. By using the Load button, we can load existing status effects to examine and modify. Here's a poisoned status effect I created for testing. It has a simple placeholder sprite, a name, and a description. The effect subtracts 4 HP each turn and lasts indefinitely until healed. You can also add multiple effects to a single status, such as reducing defense while the poison effect is active. After saving, your status effect is stored as a scriptable object containing all the necessary data. Now let's talk about creating skills. Here, you can design various skills for heroes and enemies to use. Start with general configuration by setting the sprite, name, and description. Then, you can specify the individual effects of your skills. First, define who the skill can target. Options include anyone, all, anyone from own party, all from own party, anyone from enemy party, and all from enemy party. Next, decide if the skill deals damage or heals. If dealing damage, select the damage affinity from the list of affinities defined earlier and set the damage strength. If healing, specify the healing strength. Additionally, you can have the skill cause or remove status effects by dragging previously created status effects into the object field. This flexibility allows you to create complex and strategic skills that add depth to your game. Next up is the Battle Screen Creation tool, which lets you set up your battle screens exactly the way you want them. Define how many heroes can participate in a battle on a specific screen. Let's add a hero to this screen by clicking Add Hero. This action creates a green circle with the number 1 inside the battle screen preview. representing the position of the first hero in the party. You can drag and drop the hero anywhere within the preview to define their position, with exact coordinates shown in the hero list. Let's add 2 more heroes and position them accordingly. This setup allows the battle screen to handle 3 heroes. If your party has more than 3 heroes, the extra heroes will wait in reserve and can be called into battle by replacing one of the 3 active heroes. Next, define enemy positions by clicking Add Enemy. Adding 6 enemy positions allows enemy parties of up to 6 enemies to be used with this battle screen. You can create and save as many different battle screen setups as you need, choosing a different one for each encounter or using a single setup for the entire game. For instance, this setup resembles old Final Fantasy games, but you can also arrange the heroes on the bottom and the enemies above, like in Dragon Quest games. Now, let's move on to creating heroes. Start by choosing a fitting sprite and name. Use this slider to define the maximum level the hero can reach. I'll leave it at the default value of 99. Below the max level slider, you can define an experience curve that reflects how much EXP is needed to level up. Clicking on the curve opens a graph where the x-axis represents levels from 1 to the max level, and the y-axis shows the required EXP for each level. You can adjust the steepness of the curve to create unique progression for each hero. Similarly, you can set level progression for HP and MP, determining how much HP and MP bonuses the hero will get with each level up. The same goes for the stats created earlier. Here you see a list of all available affinities. For each affinity, you can set how the hero will react when hit by a skill with that affinity. Options include weak, resist, block, repel, and absorb. For instance, setting the fire affinity to weak means the hero will take extra damage from fire skills. Finally, you can define a list of skills for the hero. Add as many skills as needed and specify the level at which each skill becomes available. Once done, save your hero and you can create as many heroes as you like, each with unique traits and abilities. You can also load existing heroes to modify or use them as templates for new ones. The hero data is saved as a scriptable object containing all defined values. For example, you can fine-tune the EXP curve directly within the scriptable object if needed. Besides this, a prefab with all necessary components is compiled when saving the hero. This prefab, called the hero build, will be instantiated during battles. The hero build includes a script that holds the hero data and makes settings accessible to other scripts, such as the level system, which keeps track of the hero's current level and updates all stats accordingly. For example, increasing the level to 5 will update max HP and MP to 418, and other stats will follow the curve values. The affinity system correctly applies all affinities and another system handles equipment. I'll cover creating equipment shortly. Additionally, the skill and status effect systems show learned skills and active status effects. Next, let's talk about enemy creation. The process is almost identical to hero creation, resulting in the same data and build structure. You'll define the sprite, name, stats, affinities, and skills for your enemies in the same way as for heroes. This allows for consistency and ease of use across your game. Since the enemy creation tool functions similarly to the hero creation tool, there's no need to dive into the specifics again. However, if you're enjoying this devlog and like what I'm working on, please consider hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like. Your support is greatly appreciated and motivates me to keep developing and sharing my progress. Now, let's move over to creating enemy teams. First, choose a battle screen you previously defined. This selection will provide you with as many enemy slots as you have defined for that battle screen. You can populate the enemy list by dragging previously created enemies into these slots. You don't have to fill all the slots. You can place just 1 or 2 enemies if you prefer. The order of the list corresponds to the positions on the battle screen. For example, placing an enemy in the second slot will position them in the second spot on the battle screen. This system allows you to create diverse enemy teams for different battles, enhancing the strategic depth of your game. Next, let's look at creating items for your game. The item creation process is similar to skill creation. You can set the sprite, name, and description for each item. Items can be configured to cause damage, heal, or add/remove status effects, just like skills. This versatility allows you to create a wide range of items to support your game's mechanics. For example, you might create a healing potion that restores HP, a magic elixir that restores MP, or a special item that applies a status effect like poison or paralysis. The flexibility of the item system ensures that you can create unique and interesting items to enhance your gameplay experience. Now, let's move on to equipment types. Here, you can define a list of equipment types that your heroes can equip. For example, you might want to include weapons, shields, and armor. Once you've defined the equipment types, you can create specific pieces of equipment. Start with the usual general settings like the sprite, name, and description. In the drop-down menu, select the equipment type this item belongs to. Finally, use the checkboxes to define which stats this piece of equipment will affect. For instance, you could create a sword that increases a hero's strength and speed, or a shield that boosts defense and magic defense. This system allows you to tailor equipment to enhance different aspects of your hero's abilities, adding another layer of customization and strategy to your game. And this concludes the tour of the creation tools that exist for now. Next, I'll be working on implementing the battle system itself, which will make use of all the elements that can be created with these tools. I'll also be adding and refining creation tools as needed, since there are always areas for improvement that become apparent during implementation. If you have any ideas or suggestions on how I can improve the current concept, please feel free to leave a comment or reach out to me. Your feedback is incredibly valuable. Thank you very much for watching. If you think this is an awesome project, please consider subscribing or leaving a like. Your support helps a lot and keeps me motivated to continue developing and sharing more updates. Stay tuned for the next devlog, where we'll dive deeper into the battle system implementation. Also, don't forget to check out my other Unity toolkits available on the Unity Asset Store, the 2D RPG kit and the 2D Action Platformer kit. These tools can help you bring your game ideas to life with ease. Links are in the description below.